The United States is a massive country. In fact, the third biggest country in the world. Yet, huge parts of it are practically empty. We're talking about entire states where you can drive for hours without seeing another person. Meanwhile, cities are packed, housing millions in tight spaces, making life hard and rent prices high. So, why aren't people moving to these states, and what's keeping them so empty? Is it the brutal winters, the struggling economies, or something else? Like and subscribe, as in this video, we're counting down the 10 emptiest states in America, breaking down exactly why people are avoiding them. 1. Alaska. Alaska is a land of extremes, and that's exactly why so few people live there. It's massive, twice the size of Texas, but with a population smaller than some mid-sized cities. In winter, temperatures can drop to -50 degrees Fahrenheit, and some towns don't see sunlight for months. Then there's the isolation. The biggest city, Anchorage, has modern comforts, but outside of that, you're looking at small communities separated by vast wilderness. Many places are only accessible by plane, boat, or a long and dangerous drive. Groceries are expensive and gas is even worse. Wildlife isn't just something you see on a hike. Moose, bears, and wolves wander near homes. And while the scenery is breathtaking, living in Alaska means accepting that nature is in charge. The economy is heavily dependent on oil, fishing, and tourism, meaning job opportunities are limited. The sheer distance from the rest of the U.S. is another reason. Flights are expensive, and even within the state, traveling from one city to another can take hours. Medical care is harder to access, and even something as simple as getting fresh produce can be a challenge. The state offers financial incentives for residents, but even free money isn't enough to keep people around. Alaska is beautiful, but it demands a certain kind of toughness to call it home. 2. Wyoming. Wyoming is the least populated state, and it's easy to see why. Wide open spaces dominate the landscape, making cities feel like small towns and small towns feel like outposts. Harsh winters sweep across the plains, bringing blizzards that shut down roads for days. The wind is relentless, especially in places like Casper and Cheyenne, where it can gust over 60 miles per hour. Jobs are scarce unless you work in ranching, energy, or tourism. Yellowstone and Grand Teton bring visitors, but they don't bring a booming economy. Social life is quiet. Bars, diners, and community events are the norm. Spring snowstorms, summer hail, and sudden temperature drops make daily life a challenge. Infrastructure is limited, and even in larger towns, you won't find the same conveniences as in bigger states. Wildlife is part of life here. Deer, antelope, and even bison can slow down your commute. The cost of living is relatively low, but so are wages, making it hard to get ahead. The people who do live here love the freedom, the land, and the quiet, but for most, Wyoming feels too empty. The idea of space and nature sounds nice, but the reality of isolation, long drives, and a slow economy keeps the population low. 3. Montana. Montana is known for its stunning landscapes, but it's also one of the least populated states. The winters are long, dark, and brutally cold, with temperatures often dropping below zero. Snowstorms can last for days, cutting off small towns from the outside world. The state is massive, but there are only a handful of cities, and even those feel more like big towns. If you're looking for nightlife, shopping, or entertainment, your options are limited. Jobs outside of agriculture, mining, and tourism are hard to come by, and wages tend to be lower than in other states. Hospitals and major services are often hours away, making emergencies more complicated. The weather isn't just cold, it's unpredictable. One day it can be sunny, and the next, a sudden snowstorm can make travel impossible. While the state has natural beauty in abundance, it also has wildfires in the summer and harsh conditions year-round. Roads can be rough, and even a simple trip to the store can mean driving for miles. The breathtaking views and outdoor lifestyle attract visitors, but actually living here requires resilience. The cost of living is rising in some areas due to out-of-state buyers, but the job market hasn't caught up. For many, Montana is a dream vacation, not a long-term home. 4. North Dakota. North Dakota has plenty of space, but not a lot of people. The weather is one of the biggest reasons why. Winters are long and brutally cold, with temperatures often dropping to -30 degrees Fahrenheit or lower, and wind chills can make it feel even worse. Summers can be surprisingly hot, with temperatures soaring into the 90s. The state is mostly flat, with endless prairies and farmland stretching as far as the eye can see. While that's great for agriculture, it doesn't exactly make for an exciting place to live. Fargo and Bismarck offer some city life, but compared to most other states, entertainment and nightlife are limited. The oil industry has brought some jobs, but it's a boom and bust economy, making job security uncertain. Many young people leave after high school because opportunities are limited. The population is aging, and outside of a few cities, most towns are shrinking. Farming and ranching dominate the economy, but it's tough work with no guarantees. While the people are friendly and resilient, North Dakota's extreme weather, limited job market, and isolation make it a tough place to attract new residents. It's a place where you need to be tough, because the environment doesn't make life easy. 5. South Dakota. South Dakota has incredible natural beauty, but it also has challenges that keep the population low. The wind is a constant presence, making cold days feel even colder. The state has a strong agricultural economy, but farming and ranching are tough jobs that require long hours and hard work. Outside of Sioux Falls and Rapid City, towns are small, and services can be far apart. If you need specialized medical care or want a night out in a big city, you're looking at a long drive. The cost of living is relatively low, but wages are too. Jobs in healthcare, education, and tourism exist, but options are limited. While the state has no income tax, property taxes can be high. The Black Hills and Mount Rushmore bring in tourists, but that doesn't necessarily translate to a booming economy. While there's a strong sense of community, the rural nature of the state can feel isolating. Young people often move away for better opportunities, leaving behind an aging population. The combination of extreme weather, limited job opportunities, and rural isolation keeps South Dakota's population low, even as other states see growth. It's a state with a lot of history and heart, but not one that's easy to settle in. 6. New Mexico. New Mexico is a land of contrasts, stunning landscapes, rich culture, but also challenges that keep its population relatively low. One of the biggest issues is the economy. While tourism, government jobs, and the film industry provide some opportunities, wages tend to be low, and poverty rates are among the highest in the country. Crime is another concern, particularly in cities like Albuquerque, which struggles with high violent crime and property crime rates. Then there's the climate. Summers can be scorching, with temperatures often exceeding 100 degrees Fahrenheit in the southern parts of the state. Water shortages are a growing problem, and drought conditions can make life difficult for farmers and ranchers. Rural areas can feel isolated, with long drives to reach basic services. New Mexico also struggles with education rankings, which can make it less attractive for families. The natural beauty is undeniable, with deserts, mountains, and stunning rock formations. But for many, the combination of economic struggles, crime concerns, and a harsh climate makes it a tough place to call home. The people who stay love its slower pace of life, wide open spaces, and deep cultural roots. 7. Idaho. Idaho has seen some population growth in recent years, but it's still one of the least populated states. One reason is its geography. Much of Idaho is covered by mountains, forests, and rugged terrain, making large-scale development difficult. Winters can be long and harsh, especially in the northern and central parts of the state. Heavy snowfall can make travel difficult, and some areas are so remote that they feel cut off from the rest of the country. Jobs are limited outside of agriculture, forestry, and tourism. Wages tend to be lower than in neighboring states, making it hard for some families to get ahead. Idaho is also politically and culturally conservative, which can be a draw for some but a drawback for others who prefer a more diverse or urban lifestyle. The isolation of many towns means fewer entertainment options, fewer healthcare facilities, and long drives for basic necessities. While the state has a low crime rate, it also has limited law enforcement in many areas, meaning people have to be self-sufficient. The natural beauty is a major selling point, with outdoor activities like hiking, skiing, and fishing drawing in visitors. But the same rugged landscape that attracts adventurers also makes daily life more challenging. 8. Nebraska. Nebraska is right in the middle of the country, but it's often overlooked, and for good reason. The state is mostly flat farmland, with endless fields of corn and soybeans stretching to the horizon. While that's great for agriculture, it doesn't make for the most exciting place to live. The weather is another factor. Winters bring freezing temperatures, ice storms, and blizzards that can shut down entire towns. Summers, on the other hand, can be brutally hot and humid. Tornadoes are a regular threat, especially in the eastern part of the state. While Omaha and Lincoln provide some urban life, most of Nebraska is rural, with small towns that haven't seen much growth in decades. There's also not much in the way of entertainment. If you want a major concert, shopping experience, or cultural event, you might have to drive to Kansas City or Denver. While the people are known for their friendliness and strong work ethic, Nebraska's combination of extreme weather, lack of job opportunities, and rural isolation keeps its population low. It's a place where people value tradition, hard work, and community, but for many outsiders, it feels too quiet and too far from everything. 9. Nevada. When most people think of Nevada, they think of Las Vegas. But outside of that bright, flashy city, the state is mostly empty desert. In fact, about 3/4 of Nevada's population lives in either Las Vegas or Reno, leaving vast stretches of land with hardly anyone. The biggest challenge: the environment. The state is one of the driest in the country, with scorching summers that regularly see temperatures above 110 degrees Fahrenheit. Water shortages are a growing problem, and in rural areas, access to resources can be extremely limited. Towns can be hours apart, and healthcare services are often difficult to reach. Jobs outside of tourism, mining, and warehousing are hard to find. And wages aren't always enough to keep up with the rising cost of living. While Nevada has no state income tax, housing prices have surged in recent years, especially in areas near California. Many parts of the state feel desolate, with long, empty highways stretching for miles without a single gas station. The gambling industry dominates the economy, but outside of Las Vegas, entertainment options are limited. Las Vegas may be known for excitement, but most of Nevada is quiet, empty, and tough to live in year-round. 10. Kansas. Kansas is about as middle America as it gets, both geographically and culturally. The landscape is flat, with vast stretches of farmland dominating the view. It's a great place for growing wheat and corn, but not necessarily the most exciting place to live. The weather can be extreme, with scorching summers, freezing winters, and some of the most violent tornadoes in the country. The economy is largely based on agriculture, meaning job opportunities outside of farming, food processing, and small-town businesses are limited. Young people often leave for bigger cities like Kansas City or Denver in search of better opportunities. The rural nature of the state means fewer entertainment options and long drives just to go shopping or see a movie. Kansas has a reputation for being traditional and family-oriented, which appeals to some but feels restrictive to others. Social life revolves around high school football, church gatherings, and local diners, which isn't everyone's idea of excitement. The state's flat terrain means there's not much variety in scenery, and outdoor activities are limited compared to more mountainous states. It's a great place if you love small-town life, but for many, it just doesn't offer enough reasons to stay.